Gaming would kind of crush their chances of qualifying, but Ad Hoc Gaming, nonetheless, is going to have to try to get through Cowana Gaming. And the thing is, even though Cowana Gaming doesn't have the best score in this round robin, they are still such a good team. I mean, look at that. Kara on the Rep Paladin, Nerd Rage on the Arms Warrior, and Tana on the Restoration Shaman. Kind of doesn't get better than that. So this is going to be a really difficult series here for Ad Hoc Gaming.
Yeah, most definitely. Don't count these guys out, Cowana Gaming, just because of their current standings. This is still a very strong team that we're for sure going to be giving Ad Hoc Gaming a run for their money right here.
And we are going to see Gelu here on the mage. Gelu, last time when we saw him, they had a great opener, but it didn't work out for them in the long run. Let's see here. Gelu gets stopped there on the initial setup. He's going for the Panda into the double Ring of Frost. Here we go. Here comes the setup. Big damage onto Nerd Rage. He trinkets. Uses that die by the sword right there, getting stopped there on the setup, but going for the Quaking Palm, and is still able to find that damage, get that cooldown. Now, though, Relza here in a lot of trouble. He gets stuck on his trinket. He's super late. You have the trinket and use Guardian. They triggered the Guardian. It's a 3-minute cooldown. Relza unlikely to see that one for a while. And Geller now as well taking massive damage. Cowana Gaming come out blasting.
That's what I wanted to see from Reload Esports when we saw them play Ret Warrior into this Holy Priest, is just run down the Holy Priest. Although Nerd Rage is playing an interesting build with the Necro Lord Warrior, amplifying Kara's damage significantly through its bonus mastery, allowing them to basically KO Relza through almost his entire defensive lineup. Now they're just absolutely rampaging, going after Cassidy, getting his bark skin. Gelu is just behind the pillar, trying to buy time for Relza. Nerd Rage is charging down the healer. Tana is lobbing in lava bursts, looking for hexes, trying to be disruptive and annoying. Kara gets intercepted though, and locked down in crowd control. They're going to need to make sure that they coordinate their stun and prevent crowd control at the same time here if they want to take Relza out.
Yeah, we'll see if they can do it. I mean, there's a lot of defense coming in from Cassidy, from Gelu to help this Holy Priest survive. So it's not going to be super easy, but these one-shots that do come in from the Necrolord Warrior and the Retribution Paladin, the Hammer of Justice is going to be landing on Diminishing Return, unfortunately. So Relza should be able to easily walk away from that one. A Vortex coming in from Cassidy, and it looks like Relza will be able to get away. They turn their attention over to Cassidy, really keeping up the pressure. And I like that for Cowana Gaming. If Relza does manage to get away, do put out pressure on at least one target as you make your way over on the Relza. Really just get maximum damage output. And that is really important for a composition that has such high overall damage, like the Retribution Paladin and the Arms Warrior. Relza continuing to cross the map. Cassidy going for a full Cyclone and unable to find it. Good range there from Nerd Rage. Expertly done, but finally the Cyclone lands. We'll have to see. Ad Hoc Gaming now getting aggressive here on Kara. This is the combustion. Can they get the Divine Shield? A full Polymorph does land into a Dragon's Breath. Kara getting really low.
Ooh.
Really greeting it there. What a close call. That could have been a down goes Kara. Morph does land into a Dragon's Breath. Kara getting really low.
Ooh.
Really greeting it there. What a close call. That could have been a down goes Kara moment for sure, but does get the Divine Shield, and Cowana Gaming hold on.
Yeah, Bubble, that will do it. But still, that is what you kind of wanted here if you're Ad Hoc Gaming. And now, I like that. They're going after Kara instead of Nerd Rage. Big setup here on the Kara once again. That could be a trinket here, and that is going to be the Spirit Link and the trinket from Tana. Still a lot of damage here. Again, moving in for the Dragon's Breath. He gets it. Kara still super low here. Does he have a Word of Glory? Doesn't look... Oh, never mind. He does. He's full HP once again here. And now Cassidy here taking a little bit of damage. Relza has his cooldowns back. I cannot believe Relza has survived here after that disaster of an opener that they had. Here comes the Door of Shadows for Relza. He's getting in position here to get aggressive. Here comes the damage potentially for Kara. They're looking to load up that crowd control. All they need to do is stun Kara and Cyclone Nerd Rage, Sheep Tana with a Dragon's Breath. And right now they're talking about how to set that up. Relza, he's going to be stunning one target, but right now they're going after Cassidy. He's stuck in a Hammer of Justice. Gelu trying to peel here. He gets the grounding totem potentially. No, there's the Flesh Craft. There's the Hex from that Aura Master. Gelu's going to trink it out, going for the Sheep. Gets kicked there, not able to find it. And they're still looking here to get that set up. They're still trying to move in here. Nerd Rage using his Blade Storm, using his Reflect here, using a War Banner, things like that, just trying to stall the setup. But there's the double Dragon's Breath. There's the full Sheep. There's the stun. There's the stun onto Nerd Rage into the Mind Control. Nerd Rage's got to trinket this shortly. And it's going to be Kara's trinket and Nerd Rage trinket. And that was the Combust setup. The next setup here could be game over for Cowana Gaming. Ad Hoc Gaming in control, Sid.
Yeah, Ad Hoc's offense has been on point. If they can hold on just to one more setup, they're regenerating mana with a drink, getting a tiny bit before Tano is able to clutch out the Earth Crab Totem. Nerd Rage leaps in, but gets cycloned. and Ad Hoc have improved their crowd control tremendously, isolating Kara time and time again. This is the Berserk. This is bad news for Kara if they can get any more pressure out, but they're not able to. Gelo's just behind the pillars spamming out polymorphs on Tana. Now Relza is stunned up. If Nerdrage can't connect, he's just sitting in that root. Feels root, man, trying to connect onto Relza. His Guardian comes up in 4 seconds, 3 seconds, 2 seconds. He's going to fade at 50%. I'll try and Door Shadows out of there and escape his opponents, but he gets pummeled on it. Now trying to run away from Kara while he's polymorphed. Cassidy and Gelu just look to stall for a few more opportunities. Here comes the Dragon's Breath. They need a Mind Games. Mind Games connects. They have a Holy Fire as well. That could be the final nail in the coffin. They don't even need the Holy Fire. Just spamming out smites. Kara's down to half health. Barely clutching in a heal. Tana trinketing during that crowd control and dispelling Mind Games. Kara able to heal for the remainder. Now here comes another round of Avenging Wrath on Cassidy. He's going to duck for cover around the corner. Nerdrage in hot pursuit, chasing down Cassidy, but Feral Druids are very slippery. Dropping that Ursul's Vortex and Stampeding Roar. Cassidy escapes a near-death experience. If he didn't respond within that second that he did, he would be on the ground dead right now. Relza is setting up damage on Kara. Kara pulling back to the pillar, and now Ad Hoc Gaming, despite their offense, they are starting to fall behind. Kara with Divine Shield available for the next attack. If Cowana Gaming can just keep up their pressure and run the Priest out of mana, it's definitely on the table for them.
Let's see how this one plays out. Dragon's Breath onto Tana. Full polymorph lands. Kara going to be using that Shield of Vengeance to survive. Cassidy getting out of line of sight of Gelu. Maybe. I mean, Kara's still taking a ton of damage for the Divine Shield. Cassidy wasn't even on him at that point. I mean, that was a combustion from Gelu. I feel like Kara made a big mistake there, in all honesty. He was out of line of sight of Gelu. Like, he ran on top of Gelu, got combusted, and the Divine Shield was forced out. I would say there was definitely a bit of a positional error there by Kara in that situation. It does cost them the Divine Shield. Dragon's Breath goes out once again. Tana maybe into a polymorph. No, Gelu unfortunately unable to find it. Kara and Nerdrage, they really need to try to get some damage rolling. Gelu taking quite a bit of damage. Relza's mana still not doing too bad. Cassidy going to be looking for some crowd control just to slow down the game. And at this point, I feel like Ad Hoc Gaming, they're getting the cooldowns they want. They're getting the setups that they want. If Gelu can reset his combustion, it looks like he has been able to. Just 13 seconds left, just spamming out those fireballs. This is a nightmare situation for the side of Cowana Gaming.
Yeah, they have a short window right here. If they go for the crowd control right now, they could potentially set up a kill. Actually, they could still get the kill through Tana's Trinket there, potentially. Tana doesn't have a Spirit Link totem right now. And here comes the setup. Dragon's Breath is out. There's the stand up to Kara. There's the combustion. There's the fear, though, from Nerdrage. Before Gelu gets the poly right there, and they are able to shut down that setup. And that was a combustion go right there as well for Gelu. So definitely disastrous. You got to give it to Ad Hoc here. Their offense has been looking really coordinated and really good, but you got to give it up to Cowana here as well. Their offense is looking quite good right now as well here, but more importantly, their defense, their defensive rotation has been great. And aside from that misstep with the bubble earlier, Kara wanted to kick a polymorph right there, but it was an aura mastery, and he kind of realized it when he already left the pillar, so he had to use that bubble there. But still, not the worst situation here. They still have the Trinket Spirit Link, and they still have Kara's Trinket to work with as well. And then potentially they can rotate back up with their bubble. I don't know. I feel like for Ad Hoc Gaming, it's going to come down to mana here. They're going for another setup here. There's a full sheep. There's the Rune of Power. Big damage here. But it's just going to be Kara Trinketing here. Next time, it's going to be Tana Spirit Link and his Trinket potentially. And then after that, Nerdrage is going to have Trinket, and Kara potentially is also going to have his bubble. So I feel like Cowana right now are just a brick wall of cooldowns here. All they need to do is just stop Relza's drinks, and they got this. But deep dampening, I can definitely see Ad Hoc offense actually working out for them.
Here comes another setup. Kara pre-Sanctuary crowd control. This is great for Cowana. They stun Relza. Big blast of damage. Can they proc the Guardian here? Cassidy's trying to help out with regrowths in the midfield. Those big regrowths coming in clutch. Relza survives the stun. Now they're turning it around on Kara. Mind Games connects. Can they take him out? Shield of Vengeance going to be traded there and buying time. Tana uses Medallion as well. They're swapping to Cassidy for a moment. He's going to duck in a bear form and try and escape, but gets feared up. They're still going after the Feral Druid here, trying to maximize some damage. Cassidy's having a tough time getting away from both the Ret and the Warrior. Life gripped on the Stormbolt, but Nerdrage reconnects. Tana getting caught in a polymorph, but Relza's in a stun. Kara needs to line of sight Relza here. If a Mind Games goes off, he's certainly going to have to Divine Shield. Actually opting for Blessing of Protection instead. saving the Divine Shield for the next setup, and it looks like he's going to get away with it for now. They're swapping to Gelu. Gelu going to try and teleport away with the Soul Shape. Cassidy just playing this kind of ranged hybrid druid. He's not just running head first into the fight. He's playing midfield, trying to get Cyclones, getting bleeds up, and then retreating away from every engagement. So it's a very tactical way to play the Feral Druid. Definitely unique. So far, we've seen Cassidy playing, anticipating some damage here with Fleshcraft, now looking for Cyclone. Nerd Rage reflects. He fakes out the reflect. Nice fake out, but there's still a lot of damage. They're going to proc the Cauterize. They're chopping up Gelu. They're going to get an Ice Block as well at 30% dampening. A critical moment to get such a vital cooldown from the side of Adhoc. Cowana Gaming stay in it.
Ooh, Galu's still low. Cowana Gaming, they have quite a bit of pressure right now, but at the same time, Kara's going to be feeling the pain. However, with the Divine Shield, going to be feeling relatively stable. If they can stay on target, I mean, Relza really is having a difficult time going after Gelu. Gelu with that combustion, though, I feel like Kara can't afford to greet it. Might just have to trade if he gets too low. Definitely does not want a chance at Botana with that Spirit Link Totem. Going to be actually having some of his defensive cooldowns to keep Gelu alive. Gelu looking for a Ring of Frost. Relza looking for a Mind Games. Potential damage coming in. Tana in a good position right now to avoid crowd control. Gelu playing very safe, just going for a combustion. I really don't know. I feel like I didn't like that combustion at all. They do get the Dive of the Sword by Nerd Rage, but that's really it. With no crowd control out on Tana whatsoever, I feel like Cowana Gaming is going to be really happy with that exchange.
Yeah, and that was the War Banner right there as well. Cassidy looking to slow down the offense here with some Cyclones onto Kara. Nerd Rage trying to Blade Storm to avoid those Cyclones as well. Nerd Rage actually use his trinket here offensively. Gelu blinking on top of the Kara, a rooted Kara. That's not where you want to be blinking, Gelu. He's going to be blinking even further away now. Relza and Hammer of Justice. Gelu needs to make some distance for himself. Nerd Rage reflecting the Polymorph. Interrupts the next one. There's the defensive Dragon Spread. There comes the Ring of Frost. Potential kick for that one as well here from Kara. And now looking to get aggressive. Relza gets the fear here onto Tana, but a nice Tremor Totem was already down there. And that's going to be Tana just surviving there. Or Kara just surviving there. Tana not going to be put in crowd control right there. Nerd Rage still going to be the target of choice here now because Kara has his bubble and his heals are much weaker on that Red Paladin. I like that they're going after the pure DPS here instead of the hybrid. And now looking for more crowd control. They do get the Spirit Link there with that damage. Now looking to set up a full sheep. They get the Cyclone, they get a resheep here. It doesn't matter if Kara's free healing. We're at 41% dampening here. He drops the Sacrifice though onto Nerd Rage, and that should be enough to keep him alive. Gelu's going to abandon the push here. He trinkets out, he sheeps, gets reflected. He might just proc here. Super low. His seed could proc any moment here. Relza needs to do something here. Trying to pull out miracles. Cassidy spamming out the heals as well. Trying to speed him up. Here comes the Cyclone. Can he get it off in time? Get it on 1% HP. The tiniest bit of damage could save him, but no. He's going to be procced. He's going to be a seed. And now Kara and Nerd Rage looking to take down the seed. Relza trinketing for it, but it's not going to be enough. And that's going to be game number 1 going in favor of Cowana Gaming at 45% dampening.
Yeah,
I really like the build from Nerd Rage. The Necrolord Warrior, as opposed to just going for consistent damage, just getting these big swings of burst. Just go for a one hit, get a block deep and dampening. You're always a threat with those cooldowns available, and they could run the Holy Priest out of mana even without the Condemn build. So interesting adaptation from Cowana Gaming, because we saw Reload Esports struggling with this matchup as Ret Warrior, whereas Cowana Gaming were able to take it. And if that's the case, Ad Hoc Gaming, what are you going to do? I mean, jungle's probably not the best matchup for this either. They're just going to have to make this work, likely take this to a larger map.
I mean,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, I mean, you kind of see how this match has played out. I really feel like for Ad Hoc Gaming, as the game went on, they were just so far on the back foot. It really was difficult for them to get momentum. Gelu, Guardian Angel procs, and at this point, I mean, Relza just doesn't have the throughput to actually keep him alive through the Avenging Wrath of Kara. It's an overwhelming amount of damage, and despite Cassidy going for Cyclones and trying to keep him alive, Gelu ultimately falls. But this is, I mean, we can just talk about how this is going to kind of play out, because I feel like this is a bit of a nightmare for Ad Hoc Gaming. This is probably their best composition option, but this is a stressful matchup. I mean, there was a few close calls on Kara, just a little bit more damage, and the game could have ended pre-dampening, taking him down. So definitely there is an opportunity for them to win, but I feel like if Cowana Gaming, they play a solid defense, this matchup is not looking that bad for them. And then with that massive kind of all-in with the wings, with the Necrolord banner, can be really difficult to stay alive if you're Gelu.
Yeah, this is a huge nightmare for Ad Hoc Gaming. They're one of those teams that is right on the cusp of making it into the top 4, so they really have to perform this weekend and get those wins if they want to try and make it into the European finals. And if you look at the history between these two teams, Cowana Gaming, they've won their last 2 series against Ad Hoc Gaming, and now they have won game number 1 here. And at the moment, Ad Hoc Gaming is probably feeling a little bit flustered to hear Zico.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if we talk about the standings right now, I would say you got Reload and you got Tegridy Damp both sitting at 3 wins, and they're facing each other. So one of those is going to lose a game, and you got Ad Hoc sitting at 2 wins. So if Ad Hoc wins here, they're going to tie that spot there with whoever loses, right? And then if they win their game tomorrow, and that same team doesn't, then, or even if they do, you might find yourself in a tiebreaker situation. So for Ad Hoc, this is everything on the line, you know. There really is a battle for 4th for them. And like Ben already kind of mentioned, Ad Hoc, not exactly known for their comp diversity. They just play jungle.
Well,
And of course, they also play, you know, the Feral Mage here. So if the Feral Mage doesn't work and they picked it, it's probably because the jungle wouldn't have worked either into the Warrior. So it's definitely a tough spot, Sid.
I mean, looking at the schedule, I mean, Method EU, which are tied right now with Ad Hoc Gaming, I believe, 2-3. So if Ad Hoc lose here, go down 2-4. Method play against Blastwave Bros, and let's be honest here, with Radipie having left, I feel like it's Method EU are pretty clearly going to be able to win that here today, which means they'll be ahead. And then Ad Hoc fights Method tomorrow. So if you're Ad Hoc, you don't want to lose here. You really can't afford to lose here. You're likely going to drop out of the top 4 if you lose to Cowana Gaming.
Yeah, and it is not looking good at the moment. And we are going to be going to Tolvaron. Cowana Gaming is going to blind lock in their composition. I know you guys kind of touched on it a little bit at the end of that game there, but that's kind of the most unfortunate part about Ad Hoc Gaming. I mean, think about this position they're in. We've talked about how close they are to getting knocked out of that top 4 and losing their hopes, so they have to win this series. They've never won a game against Cowana Gaming yet, and it sounds like, based off what you guys are saying, their main composition that surely they're a lot more comfortable on than that Feral Fire Mage is jungle, which doesn't seem like it's a good option into Cowana Gaming. So I mean, I just it's not a good position to be in, especially when there's so much on the line.
No, and I feel like it's a classic tale of jungle cleave, where you go up against some sort of cleave that just counters you, and then you're in a world of trouble. And unfortunately for Ad Hoc Gaming, the one composition that they are able to run, I don't think is the greatest answer. Ad Hoc Gaming, of course, they have great crowd control with the Feral Mage, and they have great burst damage, but the one thing they don't have is a Mortal Wounds effect. So they aren't limiting Kara's healing. If Kara plays like a really solid defense, and Nerd Rage can break up the crowd control at all, then there's no way Kara's going to be going down. So that's kind of the struggle with the Feral Mage, and why they do struggle to maintain that consistent pressure, because there's no healing reduction whatsoever. And I feel like Ad Hoc Gaming, they have 2 compositions, and both of them aren't super great into the Ret Warrior Shaman. And for Cowana Gaming, they got to be feeling good about this one.
Yeah, it's definitely good to get another win. If they do win this series, another win on the board, regardless of where they currently stand. They're at 7th. They're in 7th right now in terms of standings. They're 1-4. So, you know, I don't know how they're going to do on Sunday, but 2 wins is definitely a good place to end here. I mean, there's a lot of strong teams right now in the European region for the 8 teams that are competing to get into that final. So this is another important series for them, regardless of how you look at it. Now, here we see that composition being locked in from Ad Hoc Gaming, and they're going to be sticking with that comp from game number 1.
Well, they have a better map here
have
to work
to.
with. But, yeah. Well,
It's you go.
No, all right. You know what? I'm gonna go. Yeah, they really don't have much of an option here. I mean, Ad Hoc Gaming, if they could play jungle, they would play jungle. So the fact that they didn't lock it in blind, the fact that they didn't lock it in here, they're not going to play it. They really aren't. So Ad Hoc Gaming, they have to make it work. This map is potentially going to allow them to kite around a little bit more. I think that's one of the advantages of the Pharaoh Mage, a Holy Priest, especially with the way we're seeing Relza play it. It's a lot of mobility, so they're able to kind of position where they want. They're able to drag Kara and Nerd Rage off the pillar. They tend to get off the pillar as well, and that's when they're susceptible to crowd control. So I think at Tolveron, it should be a little bit better for them, but still a really difficult matchup.
Yeah, a really difficult matchup, and they lost the first game as well, so they're not going to be able to, it's going to be difficult if it does go to a game 5 to turn this series in their favor, so they're going to have to win a swing match, hopefully somewhere in this series if they have hopes of winning this series here against Cowana Gaming. But let's see what they can do in game number 1. It is Tolveron, but if they win this one, it's Cowana Gaming's map choice after that. Zico, what do we think we're going to see from them if we do see this same matchup in terms of comps?
Hook point, 100%. You're asking for the map, or?
Oh no, I'm asking like how we think game number 3 is going to go if we do see a win here from Ad Hoc.
If we see a win for Ad Hoc here, we're gonna see Ad Hoc blind lock the same thing. We're gonna see the same 2 comps the entire series. I think no matter who wins, no matter what, I think we're just gonna see these 2 comps here. And if Cowana wins, we're going to small maps. We're going to go to Hook Point, we're going to go to Dalaran, that type of thing. And of course, Ad Hoc, they want to be going to Tolvir, Toothpick Map, or Asha Mains, for example.
Is that just perma the nickname for Imperial Domain now? Toothpick Map?
Yeah.
Thank you, Sid, for that.
It's Super T's fault.
Yeah, it's Super T.
I'm not the one perpetuating it.
That's true. I feel like Zika's the one that's been referring to that map as Toothpick Map.
Yeah, you like it. I came up with it, but you like it. You keep saying it.
Yeah, I do like it, and you're the one who gets in trouble if nobody likes it.
Okay.
All right, well, game number 2 is on its way on Tolveron Arena. Ad Hoc Gaming looking to tie things up.
Kara, Nerd Rage, Tana, they're just going to be positioning far back, and that's what you can do to kind of make this map feel a little bit smaller. Is just pick a pillar and sit by it. And then all of a sudden, if Galu and Cassidy and Relza, they want to get aggressive, they play in the smallest arena, which is exactly where they are right now in this little corner of Tolveron. Relza going to be looking to escape, gets interrupted, potential big damage. Nerd Rage dropping the War Banner, a sign that they do want to put out some huge damage. Cassidy going to be backing him up. Relza using the Door of Shadows to escape. And, I mean, this is the cooldowns coming in from Cowana Gaming. They definitely want to get something rolling, but unfortunately really not able to find a target. Relza's just going to be running away. Cassidy in bear form, just kind of tanking through all of this damage. And I would say this first push from Cowana Gaming not really amounting to too much, but Relza finally gets caught. But unfortunately, Nerd Rage is not there. And I really feel like this wasn't the greatest start here for Cowana Gaming.
Yeah, well, they got Relza's trinket, so things could be better, things could be worse. We got a combustion here from Ghetto. It's going to net them Kara's trinket here, so that's going to tie us up a little bit in terms of trinkets, but I would say that Kara's trinket is a little bit less valuable than a healer trinket. So for Kara, that's good news. If you can get a winch proc here and get a Hammer of Justice onto Relza, they can get some big pressure. And unfortunately, when he had those wings and he got that last Hammer of Justice, Nerd Rage was not able to make his way there. But now, here we go. Big damage. No winch proc, though. And still decent amount of pressure here coming out. And nice vortex there from Cassidy, trying to break up these melees a little bit. Cassidy just trying to keep himself alive here, applying his bleeds onto Kara. It's time for Cassidy to get aggressive. He actually, he wasn't really on the same page as Gelu there. Gelu gets the resheep. He just wanted to swap over to Nerd Rage, but Cassidy wanted to stun Nerd Rage into a Cyclone and then go after Kara there. And Kara doesn't have his trinket, and Nerd Rage does, but he didn't have to use it, so definitely some of that miscommunication within the team. You can't have that happening here. If that's happening and you know, you're already down 0-1, it doesn't exactly give you the best confidence for that next game. So for Ad Hoc Gaming, they need to make sure that they are all on the same page. They're landing these setups, and here comes another one. This looks a lot better here, and that's gonna be Nerd Rage's trinket on that mind control, and that full sheep here onto Tana is also going to be the blessing of protection there from Kara. So they get themselves 2 cooldowns here with this much more coordinated push here, and now it is going to be Cowana Gaming's turn here to get aggressive. Looks like they're going to be going after Cassidy, Sid.
Let's see if they can connect. Gelu stunned for a moment, but does look like Kara wants to chomp up Cassidy on that Feral Druid. They're actually splitting their damage at the moment. Nerd Rage going after Gelu, trying to really stress Relza in this situation as to who's going to get taken down. But Nerd Rage gets set up on big damage incoming. They get Divine Shield and die by the sword. A huge turnaround from Adok here. A nice momentum shift, assuming that Relza can recover here from the Avenging Wrath. A lot of damage still available onto Cassidy. Trying to duck around the corner here. Gets charged up by Nerd Rage. Stormbolt out of form. Kars judgmenting him. Big heals coming in from Relza, but it's very slow cast. Now into a Hammer of Justice. Cassidy on the run. Guardian Angel going to trigger onto Cassidy. Likely, they're trying to hold on to it with Apotheosis used as well. Nerd Rage still just leaping after him, trying to stay on target, but looks like Cassidy will be able to survive. Cowana Gaming now needs to get ready. No Divine Shield, no Die by the Sword, no Medallion on Nerd Rage. Combustion coming up soon. They left Gelu open. He's just getting Fireball after Fireball. His Combustion's resetting very rapidly. They're going to stun up Cassidy and just try and chop him down for a kill here. Can they get it this early on? They're so close. They do! They needed that. They needed that. They were going to be in such a bad position. They just absolutely KO Cassidy and move to match point, taking one of the best maps away from them.
I mean, this is worst case scenario for Ad Hoc Gaming. They lose the blind pick. They go to their potential best map, and pre-dampening end up going down. I mean, Cassidy kind of known for being one of those Feral Druids that is incredibly difficult to actually take down. I feel like his defensive gameplay is solid, but Cowana Gaming, they are able to punish, kind of ride that momentum, and pick up a win, and that is a really important win for them. And this is, I would say, this is a devastating loss for Ad Hoc Gaming. They're on match point. They're playing composition. It seems like it's just not going their way whatsoever. I feel like they're in a lot of trouble here.
Yeah, this is really not looking good for Ad Hoc. We can see how things went down as well on game number 2, how they lost on their map choice.
Yeah, so here both teams are doing kind of a setup, and it's a bit of a race. They get the CC there on Relza, they get the Sheeps on Tana, Nerd Rage getting aggressive, Kara also about to come here and get aggressive once these CCs on him are over. And there it is. And now Kara's going to make his way back here, and they're going to get a Stormbolt, and they're going to get the damage off, and then they get a Cap Totem right there into a War Stomp, and they have just about enough damage with that War Stomp to take him down. That was a nice Cap Totem there by Tana as well, and it just chained it perfectly, and Kara as well, using a Global, and then using the War Stomp while he's on Global, getting the next Global off in the War Stomp. It's just a perfect storm. If you're Cassidy, you can't believe you died like that.
Well, I can't believe it. I mean, just looking at 5 seconds before he died, Cassidy has Survival Instincts, Bar Skin, Trinket. Like, there's no way he should die in that spot. So, I mean, for Cowana Gaming, these kind of setups can happen. It's a lot of burst damage, but they're going to be more than happy to pick up a win that way.
Okay, Cowana Gaming match point in this best of 5 series, and now it's going to be Ad Hoc Gaming's map choice here once again. We saw them move to that larger map on Tolvaron, and now if that didn't work, they weren't able to get the victory on that one. So I mean, this is a huge struggle for Ad Hoc Gaming at the moment. Do you think now is the time for them to switch up their composition, or is that not going to really work either? Because, I mean, it sounds like based off what you guys are saying in the last break between games that this is their best option.
Well, their option is this or this with a Hunter. And, I mean, they're not playing it with a Hunter because presumably it's not going that well for them. I can kind of see that. They should lose on mana. They have to try to get kills before that, and can be quite tricky for them. So I don't think they're gonna, if they do make a comp swap, they're swapping to a worse comp, but they're swapping to something that they're more comfortable with.
Yeah.
So if this is like a 30% chance to win, like the Mage Pharaoh, maybe the jungle is 20% chance to win or 25% chance to win, but they're 20% better at playing jungle, so they still feel like it's worth for them to make that swap. That's the only scenario I see them going to jungle, like just as a comfort.
To you, Zico, does it look like they're not as comfortable on this one? Like, are we seeing small mistakes because of their maybe lack of time on this composition, though?
I feel like they played it really well. They survived for a really long time. I think the nature of the comp is just keep doing those setups, keep looking for the drinks, have Cassidy do a lot of off healing, a lot of running, and then in dampening, when you get those setups with the same triple CC, you're gonna eventually be able to win because you're gonna have dampening. So instead of just forcing like the Red's trinket in one setup, you're gonna force like the Red trinket plus the Shadowlands trinket or the Warriors trinket, and then the next time you get a combust, you're gonna be able to actually end the game instead of just having that infinite rotation. So for ad hoc, I think they've been playing it well. I think they've been playing it about as well as you can, honestly. But it's like kind of what Ben was talking about. You don't have the mortal wounds. You don't have anything to really stop that healing that's coming out from the ret. And if you can't stop it, then he's gonna survive. And in Kawana's credit as well, their defensive rotation, I haven't really seen any time where they like overlap and you can tell like, oh, they panicked and use Trinket, Link, and Bubble at the same time. That never really happens. It's always the same. Kara's trinketing and then he's using Bubble, and Nerdrage is trinketing and using his Sphere, and Tana is sometimes trinketing using his Spirit Link, and sometimes he's not. And Tana has really good rotation too on his Fleshcraft. Anytime they're pulling those CC chains, he's always just instantly Fleshcrafting to stall the ghost. So I don't know. I think Cowana are just playing super well defensively.
Yeah, it's definitely a solid series here on the side of Cowana Gaming. They win this next one, they are going to win this series. That's going to be a 3-0 versus Ad Hoc Gaming, and I mean, I've said it so many times that they have yet to win a series against Ad Hoc, or against Cowana Gaming on the side of Ad Hoc, but they're trying things a little bit differently this time. They're bringing out Gelu on that Fire Mage, utilizing his skill on that class, and maybe this game number 3 is going to be sort of a third time's the charm situation. Maybe they're settling into this matchup just a little bit more. So let's see what they can do here in game number 3, see if they can turn things around, but they can't afford to drop another game, because if they lose this one, they lose this series, and they could lose also their chance to make it into that top 4. So there's a lot riding on this team's shoulders at the moment on the side of Ad Hoc Gaming. Cowana Gaming may close this one up 3-0.
Yeah, they were winning until they weren't, pretty much. Like they were winning until like literally the last second of the game. I think earlier Relza used Life Grip on top of Cassidy's Wild Charge. So they used both of their mobility. If they had Life Grip to pull Cassidy during that stun, I think he would have survived. I think it's very likely that we see Ad Hoc Gaming win this game, but when we go to an impending hook point, that's when they're really going to be tested. Of course, they could still just lose outright. Relza's pretty overextended at the moment, stunned up. Nerdrage pre-Blade Storming incoming crowd control, disrupting the Polymorph. Really nice play by Nerdrage, totally shutting down that attempt, and now Carr is on target. They pop that Necrolord banner. It could be very scary. Carr is switching over to Cassidy. He is already running for the hills in bear form, trying to escape that Ret Paladin and look for Cyclones. Carr is going to max range the Cyclone, now getting polymorphed. You can see that Ad Hoc Gaming want nothing to do with that Avenging Wrath. It's just run away from the Ret Paladin, polymorph the Ret Paladin, stay away from him during that Avenging Wrath. You want none of that business.
I feel like a lot of players watching can probably relate to that. I know that I can. So it's all about defense when Kara has his cooldowns available, and then when those cooldowns are down, now it is time to get aggressive. But Relza having a little bit of a difficult time actually recovering here. Dragon's Breath on Tana. We're looking for a setup here. A nice interrupt from Tana denies Gelu. Fortunately, he will not be able to find a polymorph, and now they're actually going after Cassidy. And normally, I really feel like Cassidy is almost invulnerable in this matchup, but seeing him go down on Ashamane's Fall, maybe Cowana Gaming, they end up targeting him a lot more in this matchup, as Gelu really slippery on that Fire Mage, really durable as well with that prismatic barrier. So we might see a little bit more Cassidy training in this matchup as they make a swap on Gelu. Gelu doesn't have his Cauterize. He's on fire, so not sure what happened there. It looked like his health was full and then he was on fire. So I mean, that's kind of the burst damage that Cowana Gaming has available, and that is definitely unfortunate for Ad Hoc Gaming, because if that happens again, Gelu's just dead.
Yeah, Gelu, he went for a big YOLO combust there, but he got feared on it into a Stormbolt, and when the Stormbolt ended, he was a man on fire. So now he's not going to have that, and that's a very scary thing against this comp. You don't have Trinket, you don't have Cauterize, you get full stun like this, you're going to be in a lot of trouble, but it looks like Cassidy is going to be able to kind of tank this one out. He's going for some heals there, for some Cyclones. He gets interrupted. Gelu now looking for some Sheeps here as well. There's the Fleshcraft from Cassidy. Kara now in a sheep, Gelu looking to potentially push forward and get even more crowd control here onto the healer. Dragon's Breath onto Nerd Rage, into a sheep here, looking for the re-sheep here, but Tana is making it very difficult for Gallo here to actually reach him with that pillar's positioning, and now Gallo's in a stand. He doesn't have oh, nice grip right there. I was about to say, he doesn't have Cauterize, he's about to go down here, potentially, maybe use Ice Block. Still kind of low here, but nice grip there from Relza. Should be enough to keep him alive.
Wow!
Goes for the big heal, but still has to use the Ice Block there, and that's a situation where not having the Cauterize is so scary. If you have the Cauterize there, you can greed the Ice Block, but not in that situation. Gallo's going to respect the damage, trade out the Ice Block before it's too late. And now they're swapping to Cassidy here. Cassidy taking massive damage here, getting flashbacks from the previous game right there, not using his bark skin there. A lot of greed there from Cassidy, but Reza is going to be able to keep him alive there with that Guardian Spirit. No overlap there. And now, once again, it's going to be Gallo on the back foot, Sid.
Yeah, not much remains here for Ad Hoc Gaming on match point. They can't afford this. It's likely their qualification on the line here if they lose this series with having to face Method EU tomorrow. I mean, if they have to beat Method EU, and Method EU are likely to win their series today, that's going to be so devastating for them. They've set up crowd control. They're trying to power down Nerd Rage, but Nerd Rage anticipates it and trades before the damage even hits him, really preventing the assault for now. Trying to follow up with a tiny bit of remaining damage, but it's not enough. Kara is laying in with that Divine Toll. Big pressure on the Gallu. How is Relza going to deal with it? Popping the Apotheosis, resetting his Holy Words, trying to get big heals, and Gallu is in retreat, trying to avoid the Rep Paladin. But Tana is assisting his team with the push, always staying next to his Warrior and his Rep Paladin to utilize that Grounding Totem and the Wind Shear. But this double Frost Nova got huge value, actually. No way to get out of it. Kara now into a Cyclone. Nerd Rage looks to be the target. Cassidy's going to get swapped to. Is he ready for it? He's in a Bark Skin. Has the frictionless coating proc. They cut through that. Now Bark Skin is going to be fading here in a second, and Relza is going to have to deal with it. They polymorph Kara. They stun Tana. Beautiful setup by Ad Hoc Gaming, despite being on match point and despite being relatively in shambles in terms of defense and mana at the moment. They're still putting up a fight.
No, they definitely are. I mean, Gallo's had great positioning so far, just really trying to overextend Nerd Rage and Kara. Now swap on Cassidy. Cassidy, I mean, he is going to be very afraid after what happened to him on Tolvaron. Normally playing very confident in these matchups, but you can tell a little bit more of a defensive oriented playstyle, running away, getting gripped away. Gallu left behind. Kara going to be going after him. Big damage incoming. Relza just spamming out smites, trying to reset a stun, but Gallu goes down to 10% health. A beautiful alter time. He tops himself off, but what a close call. Explosive damage from that Retribution Paladin and that Warrior. We have just stepped foot into dampening, but I feel like as this series has gone on, Cowana Gaming has been looking more and more solid and comfortable in the matchup, and the setups from Ad Hoc Gaming are coming in a lot less frequently. And I just feel like that's because Cowana Gaming has so much more pressure. Gallu and Cassidy have been forced to play really defensive.
Yeah, they're kind of forcing them to use things like Dragon's Breath defensively, and forcing them to go for sheeps and repositioning a lot here. And you can tell Cowana, their defenses look the same more or less in every single game, but it's just their offense are looking better and better. But here comes the setup. Full damage here onto Nerd Rage, but a nice fear there onto Gallu, stopping his combustion right there. Gonna save both Tana and Kara's trinket right there. So just Nerd Rage trading out the trinket and the Die by the Sword for Gallu's combustion. Not a bad trade for Cowana Gaming. It's pretty neutral, I would say. Gallu now has a chance to reset that combustion, go for another play like that, but then it could be Kara's trinket or Tana's trinket. They also have to get through Kara's bubble, so still a lot of defense here on the side of Cowana Gaming. Gallu gets an invis off, going for the Frostbolt here onto Nerd Rage. Oh, he actually reflected it, I believe, and now he's going to be able to reconnect back to his target here. Big damage now onto Gallu. Nerd Rage with that avatar active. It just feels like for Ad Hoc, they're still not sure if they should go on the Warrior or on the Ret. They're going to go after the Warrior here. They get a full sheep here onto Kara. Kara now actually getting Dragon's Breath on his trinket into a resheep, but Nerd Rage reflects it there. Nice play there from Nerd Rage. Now they're turning it around onto Cassidy here. Big damage there in that Storm Bolt. It's going to be Relza trading out his Guardian right there. And now the train over back to Gallu here continues, Sid.
And the other advantage of the Necrolord Warrior is all the absorb effects that you get from the Necrolord Covenant with frictionless coating and fleshcraft. So not only does it amplify Kara's burst damage during the Avenging Wrath, Nerd Rage is also just more durable of a target for Ad Hoc Gaming to take down. So this one Covenant swap is making this matchup look a lot different. However, thanks to the map, Relza has maintained a very healthy margin of mana, and Tana is actually the one playing on the back foot, but at any point, these Avenging Wraths from Kara could just net a kill. Here comes one big swing of damage onto Gelu, a swap back over to Cassidy. And Kara's running a bit of a lottery Ret Paladin build with the Templar's Vindication. Every time he uses Templar's Verdict, which he's running a legendary to turn into Final Verdict, it has a 50% chance to strike an additional time at 30% of its damage. So if he wins the lottery on one of these Final Verdict procs, and he gets a Divine Toll proc, I mean, that target is just immediately erased from the game. So even though Ad Hoc Gaming are comfortable, they've got defensive cooldowns, they're high on mana, Kara could just turn this game on its head.
Yeah, I mean, Kara has been he's been a very vital part of their team on that Retribution Paladin, and you can tell Cowana Gaming, they are really prepared for this matchup. Stun onto Gelu, who, despite getting down to 10% health, did manage to hold on to his Cauterize and his Ice Walk. So for Ad Hoc Gaming, at least they have some of those cooldowns rotating back up. We are already at 21% dampening in this match. Cowana Gaming 1 away from closing it out. Ad Hoc Gaming, they are going to have to reverse sweep if they want to stay in this one and honestly keep their dreams of making it into that top 4 alive. So a really tense game. If they don't win this one, they could be out. Big swing of damage coming in from Kara. Cassidy forced to trade out the Survival Instincts. It's a Guardian Spirit as well. Coming in from Relze. Gelu playing defensive with a Ring of Frost, just trying to keep his team alive. They go for a setup, but unfortunately unable to find damage. Kara with great positioning, just out of line of sight, hiding. And now that crowd control's over on Tana, they can get aggressive once again. And Cassidy getting targeted, going to be forced to go in bear form and try to escape.
Yeah, and it's taxing Relze's mana quite a bit here. These little random hits onto Cassidy, but now they're going for crowd control here to get a full Psychic Scream onto Tana. Kara is going to Trinket and use that Sanctuary to remove that from Tana. So they get Kara's Trinket here with the setup, and now Nerdridge has his Trinket. That was not a Combustion setup. Now they get a full Sheep here, though. This could be a real setup here with Combustion. Gelu not able to do it. Nerdridge just running around behind the pillar, just waiting to get back into the fight now with that Freedom. And Nerdridge is going to be completely safe there. Tana now on Sheep DR here as well. Tana going to call in his Earth Elemental, send it onto Relze just for just to keep him in combat. Now they're going after Gelu here. Big damage. Nice alter time by Gelu. Could go back if he wants to. I think he's just going to cancel that one. Instead, he's going to pressure here with the Combustion. Big damage coming out here onto Kara. Full Sheep onto Tana. Do they have anything more? Kara's trying to hold on to the bubble. Gets a big Word of Glory right there, and it looks like it's going to be enough. Now to turn the pressure back onto Cassidy. Cassidy drops to about 50% here. Cassidy in there for him, not trading out the Bark Scene. He gets gripped by Relze. Actually, he wild charges to the pet of Tana right there, and he's gone. And now Gelu going to be the target of choice here once again. He uses his Soul Shape, builds up the distance. Now they're trying to get back to anybody here. Nerdridge, the only one with mobility here. Kara's just a rat here, unfortunately. Now they have a big setup here onto Nerdridge. You get a double fear onto Kara as well as Tana here, but a nice warband by Nerdridge. And Nerdridge also trading out his own personal cooldowns there with that Avatar Shield, as well as that Die by the Sword. He's going to single-handedly survive that push right there and hold on to his Trinket. And, I mean, it's these trades that Cowana keep doing.
Oh, there's the lottery! He's gone!
Oh.
He's just dead. Ad Hoc Gaming.
Kara's got to buy some tickets today. That was the lottery right there. I think he won the Templar's Verdict roll and the Divine Toll roll.
You see Cassidy, I mean, I don't know if you saw it in Cassidy's camera, but when he died like that, he actually just smiled. And he was actually just smiling. He's like, well, it happens. Like I said, I feel like this is a relatable story to, you know, players. It can definitely happen against the Retribution Paladin. Cowana Gaming, though, to their credit, I mean, they played an excellent defense. These one-shots they were able to pull off.